Hey everybody, Dr. Quinn here, and here is the video overview for the week. Okay, so for this week, you've just finished running assignment 2's instructions. You've gotten feedback on the personas and the instructions, and we're going to start and move toward working on the report to the supervisor. So you'll have a week to orient yourself and to work on that. When you click on the Unit 4 Learning Resources, just click on page 1 and you'll see prior scenarios. These are scenarios that students from maybe last year or the year before had worked on and ones that I have graded. So I'm very familiar with these prior scenarios, and you get a chance to see an entirely different setup than what you're doing, but the same type of document, the same type of report. So one of the things that we want you to do as you focus on writing assignment 3 is to take a look at the forest lawn scenario. So in the work that you're doing now, you're going to be, you're a new hire. You're going to be creating a report to your boss about particular concerns that you see. And you can see in the scenario, which is the background to the prior assignment, not our current one, and how it was tackled by the student. You'll get a sense of level of effort, the type of research, why we included library research in a prior discussion for the week. You'll see how the academic space and the technical writing space tend to significantly overlap. In addition, you're going to have some visualization of data, readings just as homework, because you're going to be incorporating data, images, charts, graphs, tables, a little bit different than the screenshots for writing assignment 2, but you're going to be either borrowing and citing an important graph that you think is very specific to the topic, or going to be creating your own for this report to the supervisor. So that's why we've got information on this. And of course, how to cite sources, because you're not just writing about the topic of like cybersecurity for the business, but you're going to be going to expert research, and I'm going to go over writing assignment 4 in depth with you at the end of this video so you get a chance to see what's happening. So that's all it is for the learning resources. You get a chance to look at a prior scenario, information to help on thinking about how we visualize data, and of course tutorials on how we cite sources. Now, in the discussions, we have discussions on selecting and integrating graphics and analyzing a sample report. So when you click on analyzing a sample report, you'll see here that you're going to be writing in your report, you're writing to Sally Charleston. A sample has been provided, and that's the forest lawn one. So if you go back, you'll see it in the readings for the week, but you can also go to content, and you can go to sample papers, and you can see sample for forest lawn and writing assignment 3. This is the same that's embedded in the week. There's some nice redundancies built into the class website just so you won't lose it. So you'll get a chance to review the scenario and the sample and get an idea and talk about it. So the only gradable assignments for week 4 are the discussion boards. Writing assignment 4 is just a lot more valuable as an assignment. And if we take a look at the syllabus, you can see how everything is set up. So you'll see that nothing on here but weekly discussions are due in week 4. Major assignments, you've got a draft of the reports the supervisor due week 5. Then you've got your final due week 6. And then when you do your resume, cover letter, park analysis project, you have a draft week 7 and the final week 8. And then you have your final presentation also week 8. So in the end, you have 2 assignments due at the end. But the final presentation is a shorter 4 to 7 minute recording. Okay, so you can see here as well, there should be values, there they are, on each assignment. And I wanted to show you that the value for writing assignment 2 set of instructions is about half of the report to the supervisor. This is why you have 3 weeks to work on it, is because it's worth the most value, and it incorporates sort of like a blend. It's a hybrid space of academic writing and research into a business space where you have to impress the boss. So I just wanted to show you the value and why we're taking that time. There will be no draft or writing assignment 4 due this week. So let's actually go in and take a look at this information in the report to the supervisor. So I'm going to go in through the edit option, which just allows me to sort of click on the situation at the hotel. We're going to open that in a new tab. And then, of course, the instructions. So you've got 2 documents this time. Oh, hang on a second. What just happened there? I don't know what happened. The page not there, but okay, writing assignment 3, writing assignment 3. I think I was clicking too fast. Okay, so in the assignment, there are 2 links. You need to have a background on the business. You're a new employee to the Charleston Hotel, so you kind of need to see what's happening with the business and what the scenario is. And then, of course, then you can make your approach and your report based on maybe your major, your personal interest, how you want to deal with this. So we've got, you're working at the Charleston Hotel. The impact of local law 18. In January of 2022, New York City passed a law that placed significant restrictions on Airbnb rentals and other similar rental agreements. The law is titled Local Law 18 and referred to as Short-Term Rental Registration Law. And so you've got a little bit of background on that law, it said. Let's see. The law initially passed and then was implemented in September of 2023. And so for rentals short of 30 days, the host must be present. For rentals longer, the host is not required. The ruling significantly reduced the number of Airbnb, Vrbo, and booking listings. And then, of course, you can see how this would perhaps affect a hotel. Sally Charleston opens up the Charleston Hotel. And then, so you've got background on your boss. Okay, let's see. Just that allows you to understand her skill set and what she's working with and what she knows. And then you can tailor your report to Sally Charleston. So as you look at this, you'll see that Sally's decided to convert her home into a small like boutique bed and breakfast, the Charleston Hotel. Okay, but how does she apply the law to the hotel? So you've got all of this background. You're going to want to sort of get familiar with it. And then, of course, we've got people that work with Sally. We've got Terry, Billy, and Jeremy. So those are like employees. Keep that in mind. It's a busy business. And there are some concerns that Sally may have in running the business. Security, smart features, and convenience. So imagine if you're a cybersecurity student, you may want to focus on enhanced security features related to the business. Maybe if you're a business HR student, you focus on other elements. Maybe if you're accounting marketing, you focus on issues related to the website and targeted advertising. You don't have to focus on every issue that's listed. This assignment is designed to allow students to use their majors to help them understand the assignment in more detail. And of course, HR students who are focusing on human resources may want to think about the addition managing staff. So here's a bullet list of concerning observations. Again, in your report to the supervisor, you are not required to highlight all of these. I recommend 2 or maybe 3. So you'll go through this. You'll choose what angle you want to approach, what concerns that you want to address in the report. And so this document is really long. You're not going to be dealing with every single thing in the document. You're going to be concerning yourself with 2 or 3 issues. So now that's just the situation. So this week, your job is to take a look at this. This is your homework, to review the situation and become familiar with the business. Then you're going to look at the assignment instructions, this report to the supervisor, this report that's worth like 30% of your grade. It's a 1,500 to 2,200 word document. The only things that you have to format in APA style are when you cite your research and when you have like a references page. Everything else, you can look at the sample for Forest Lawn and others and see the layout. I will be doing videos on those sample papers for writing assignment 3 a little bit later this week. I wanted you to familiarize yourself with the scenario first. Okay. So you can see that you have to incorporate 2 graphics this time, and details on those graphics are below. You definitely want to review the full situation. I glossed over it just a minute ago, but you'll want to review it in depth. Okay. Your task is that Sally is not aware of the problems of the current situation, and mentioned in the overview that she has an entrepreneurial spirit, but you're a cybersecurity expert, or you're an HR expert, or you're an advertising expert, and you are zeroing in on that element of the problems, and you're writing a report that will highlight the problems and the solutions. That's what this document will do. So make sure that you go through this. If, of course, there are terms that you're going to highlight, that you make recommendations for upgrades or for new software or new hardware, you may have to define terms as you go because she's not an expert. That's why we gave you background on her. Okay. So, select 2 to 4. I think 3 at the most will absolutely get you where you need to go. I've seen students try to do all of them and they only have a sentence or 2. They haven't shown the depth of discussion, the research required to go into the library databases, that I'm looking for in this report. So again, I think 2 or 3 would be sufficient for you to take the time to go through the assignment. Your job is to also do research. Your research is not just from textbooks from your classes, but from the UMGC library databases, specifically peer reviewed, where you're looking at scholarly or credible trade journals. That's why we practiced that in the discussion from earlier in the term. Okay, you can of course incorporate more, but remember, when we go to the UMGC library, let's just take a peek. Choose scholarly articles only. It will save you a lot of time when you do those searches. Okay, so that's a nice little hint that will help you with that. You're gonna have a time to review the scenario, to start your initial research, and then you have a week that's coming up, week 5, where you submit your draft, and then you'll get feedback from me. The draft is required, and then you'll submit the final. So you'll have a couple of weeks to work on this assignment, and give it the time and the labor that it involves. You'll also see in the student sample papers that I'm going to go over, and you'll see that the video announcement of me going over forest lawn later this week. So take a look at that, and we'll see if that answers your questions. And of course, if it doesn't, just let me know. Please do not use clip art or stock images. I know it says to do it in here, but I think it looks unprofessional, so I would not recommend it. It doesn't mean you'll get 0 points, but you wouldn't get the most points. I think you want to maybe create a small table, create a pie chart or graph if that's appropriate for the scenario. Or if you borrow an image, how do you cite that image? Okay, you can use the graphic of the layout if you like. That's provided in the overview. Paper is permanent, know your audience. We chunk information. When you write a report, it's not exactly like how you write an academic essay. We don't want paragraphs that are super long. We want them to be manageable in pieces. And you don't need to tell Sally how great she is. We don't need any of that in the report. Okay, so we just need to get to the business. Importantly, I want you to follow the report that's going to be organized in this fashion: a memo, an executive summary. I will do an announcement on executive summaries, and I'll show you what that looks like. I may embed that in the Essay 3 overview. The heart of your essay is going to be the problems and solutions section. This is where you cite your sources. This is where you incorporate data. This is where you incorporate your graphics, conclusion, and a reference. You don't want to be too assertive. You're like a new employee at this business. You want to remember that this is the boss. You can't demand that you do things. You can strongly recommend, right? So a lot of technical writing is tone and audience, right? So that's kind of the places where I'm going to be working in my feedback to you. And of course, make sure your sources are locatable and accurate. This is why you can't use AI for this assignment. It's going to hallucinate. It's going to create fake quotes. It's going to create fake sources, and it's going to create a big problem for your grade if you do that. I want to see your writing. I want to see how you imagine this. So avoid AI entirely. If you end up using it in any sense, you must differentiate what's your writing, what's AI. My recommendation is change the color and provide a footnote in the document. Something really obvious. Everything in purple was AI writing. And then I'm going to grade what was it in purple. Because I know in the business space that students may be able to use it and use it accurately. But the idea is that you use it once you have the skill set and you use it to enhance your text. I want to grade what you wrote. I am not going to grade what AI wrote for you. So that's my rule on AI use, is that if you end up using it, you've got to document it. You've got to set it aside with a different color, and you have to label it. Okay, so that's I'm about to run out of time here, but for this week, just the 2 discussions, the readings, and of course, the time that I want you to look at the situation at the hotel, and the assignment overview is where you can spend your time most wisely. The final thing that you can do is look at the assignment rubric. You can go into the assignment rubric and look at it as a checklist. With these 2 documents is the grading table. So go over that. When I look at the forest lawn sample, I'll review the rubric at that point as well. I wish you great luck this week. And if you have questions, just let me know.